And the real question is whether or not the paddle shifters work. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in drive, and then if I tap this, how's it going, everyone? Welcome to the Always Up to Late channel. My name is Jonathan, and we have what I think today is going to be a pretty quick project. We're going to try retrofitting paddle shifters, or at least the steering wheel paddle shifters, into my 2010 W204 that did not come with them from the factory. And what I have today is I have a C63 steering wheel that does have factory paddle shifters on them and does have the wires and the plugs and everything. If we take a look at the factory wheel that came in that one, this is what I understand the sport steering wheel, as it has 3 pieces here. And then we have the C63 steering wheel, which is also 3 pieces here. It has the paddle shifters attached, so you can see that they are on there. Everything else looks pretty similar. They also have the harnesses and the connectors for the paddle shifters as well. And one very important thing to note is that today we're going to be messing with the steering wheel, which means that we're going to be messing with the airbag. So the very first step with this is we're actually going to go ahead and disconnect the battery and make sure that we've removed all of the residual power in the system that we can. So we'll go ahead and do that now. And the battery is going to be located underneath of this kind of squirrel cage airbox type deal. There's 2 clips. There's one here and one on this side that are pushed off, and then there's a center one. Kind of has to be lifted up on a little bit here, and it will eventually come out of there. You have to be very careful not to touch anything metal while you're on the battery bolt. The positive lead is disconnected. Just going to put this cover back on, so that way it doesn't accidentally touch the positive. Alright, now that the battery is disconnected, there should not be any more power coming from the battery. However, there could be some left somewhere in the system somewhere. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to hold down on all of the window down buttons for a little bit, just to help drain out any of the power that's left, just to make sure that it's going to be relatively safe to go ahead and disconnect the airbag. Alright, now that we are relatively sure that the power has been killed to everything, we can go ahead and remove this section here. This is the part that has the airbag in it. It has 2 screws, one on the back side here and one on the back side over there. It's T30 socket, Torx bit, and I'm going to use this with a ratchet, and we'll go ahead and take the screws loose on either side. Now, whenever messing with airbags, I'm always a bit leery because I just don't want this thing going off and smacking me in the face. I tend to work on them from the outside, like the side, and not directly in front of them. I think that it may be easier to get on the screw maybe if you were sitting directly in the seat, but from the side works just as well. You can see that side is now loose. And for the opposite side, I'm going to reach around the steering wheel here and go ahead and get that one started there. And once you have them loose, you can usually like finger untighten these. Okay, so we have it loose now. With this pulled out a little bit, you can see that we have these clips in here that they pull out. There's tabs on either side of them, and it's disconnected. Alright, now before we take this off, we want to go ahead and make sure that the wheel is as straight as possible, because once we take this off, there's no real marks or anything that are good for orientation. And this clock spring, these connectors, they don't stay in place. They can actually spin and not necessarily tell you where center is. I have my wheels as straight as possible, and the steering wheel is as straight as possible as well. Now the center bolt is a 10. It's a hex head and it's a 10. Now I did go ahead and use a breaker bar to get this loose because it is in there with quite a lot of force, but we just put the socket in there in the center and then just run it out for quite a while. It's a pretty long bolt. You'll probably have to get a pipe or something to get it broken loose because there is a bunch of Loctite on it. And then once that bolt is out, this thing just slides off. And with the steering wheel off, you can see that I can actually turn this thing. So if it went this way or this way, you wouldn't necessarily know exactly where perfectly straight. And the reason why I do believe that these will actually hook up is looking on the back side of the module, the airbag module that I took out. You can see that there are plugs here. There's a plug here and plug here, and those are the same plugs that go on the steering wheel for the C63. So my theory is that I can plug these into here, and I think that the paddle shifters will actually work. Okay, now the reinstallation of the steering wheel from the C63 is the reverse. You slide it on, it slides right onto the shaft, it looks like, and lines up pretty well, like what I think it should. So the clock springs fit and everything like that. And then in the center, we'll go ahead and run the big bolt in place here. Okay, and you're going to want to get the torque specifications, which I don't currently have, but I'm going to go look up, and torque this bolt to exactly what it's supposed to be. I mean, you're dealing with your steering wheel, so you don't want this thing accidentally coming off at any point in time, because that would be quite dangerous. So always make sure that you torque your bolts exactly to where they're supposed to be from the manufacturer specifications. So I'm going to go get torque specs and torque this thing down, and then we'll come back and do the airbag part. Okay, now again, working from beside the airbag, because I don't want to be directly in front of it, I go ahead and plug in the left paddle shifter, and then now we'll plug in the right. Okay, and then now we're going to re-plug in the plugs for power and the controls. Okay, those clicked in really well, and then I'm going to route the wiring harnesses for the paddle shifters up above where the bolt is for the mounting of the steering wheel, like that. So it looks like it fits like it should. Okay, now in the same way that I did before, I'm tightening up these screws while working on the outside of the steering wheel. Really just don't like working directly in front of the airbag until we get everything hooked back up and put back into place the way that it should be. So I'm just finger tightening that screw on that side. Now we're going to finger tight the one on the other side, again just working from the side of it here. I'll actually just tighten these down with the ratchet now. Okay, and just with the center bolt, you're going to want to get the torque specifications for these two bolts and torque them down to where they're supposed to be. Horn looks fine, paddle shifters are clicking, so now we'll go ahead and put the battery back in, and then we'll test this out. Take the cover back off. Now there are some things that try to turn on automatically, so you want to put this on as quick as possible to avoid any sparks or anything that can come from that, because otherwise it will start to spark. You definitely want to make sure that cable is good and tight, because that can cause all kinds of problems if you have any loose connections there. And we'll just put that cover back on. And then this plastic box goes back on top here. Once it's in, you can snap these clips back on it. And this one you want to make sure is back. Let's get that on there, clip that one on, and then you can push that one back in there. I'm going to reach around here and put the key in. Okay, nothing happened. Okay, now that I feel reasonably confident that the airbag isn't going to explode, we'll go ahead and start this up. Manual 1. Yep, so you can see as I'm tapping these levers, we have it down in drive 1, and then I'll reach over with this hand. There's drive 2, drive 3, drive 4, drive 5, drive 6. So no special coding, and you can watch them happen. You know, I'm not touching the gear shift either, and you can watch it cycle through. So you can't go any higher than drive, so you have to go back to that one to get it back to drive 1. Just like that. I was able to successfully retrofit paddle shifters into the w204, the C300, that didn't have them from the factory, but it looks like it was actually wired for them from the factory. There was no special coating or anything that had to be done. I literally just put in the C63 wheel. It had the plugs on the back of the airbag, and I plugged them in, and they appear to work. It seems like everything's pretty good. I think the only reason why I'm replacing the steering wheel in general is because my old one is kind of worn in spots, and it's just been on there a long time. So I mean, that's the reason why I replaced it, and I got that one for the C63 for less than $100 with shipping and everything from eBay. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions or any comments, please leave them in the comments below, and I'll definitely try to get back to you. Other than that, thank you for stopping in, and I will hope to see you guys in the next video.